Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining me today. Welcome to our session, Boosting Human Performance Through One-on-One Accountability. In today's talk, we'll explore how small, individual interactions can build a strong culture of safety and performance in any team. This presentation is not just about theory, it's about real-life stories and practical strategies that you can apply immediately in your workplace. I'm excited to share insights that will help you see how every conversation matters and how each of us plays a critical role in making our work environment safer and more productive. Let's get started. Every day we go to work knowing that mistakes are a natural part of being human. It's inevitable that sometimes, despite our best efforts, things go a little off track. But here's the essential point. Rather than hiding these errors or blaming each other, we have the chance to turn them into opportunities for learning and improvement. Think of it this way. If you notice a small error or a potential safety issue, that moment is not about pointing fingers. It's about pausing, discussing, and correcting the problem before it grows. Today, we're going to explore how this one-on-one accountability, this willingness to speak up when something doesn't seem right, creates a culture where every individual feels supported and responsible for each other's success. Imagine working on a complex project with a group of talented individuals. Instead of simply focusing on your own tasks, you also keep an eye out for your teammates. One-on-one accountability means that you're not just working side by side, but actively engaging with each other in a supportive way. Picture it as having a personal safety coach right there with you, a colleague who doesn't hesitate to say, "Hey, that seems a bit off. Let's review it together." This approach isn't about assigning blame when something goes wrong. It's about ensuring that everyone is empowered to catch potential issues early and help each other improve. It's the difference between a team that works in silos and a team that thrives on open, honest dialogue. We all know that perfection is an impossible standard. Each one of us makes mistakes. That's simply part of being human. The message here is to embrace our imperfections as opportunities to learn. When we say, "I'm human, I make mistakes," we create an environment where admitting an error is seen as the first step toward growth. When a coworker points out something that might be unsafe, it's not a critique, it's a caring gesture. By accepting feedback and using it to adjust our actions, we foster a culture where everyone feels comfortable sharing their thoughts and concerns. This openness ultimately builds trust and makes our teams more resilient and effective. Let's take a look at some real-world examples that illustrate these principles in action. In the world of aviation, pilots rely on a system called crew resource management, where every member of the cockpit is trained to observe and speak up if they notice even a small deviation from standard procedures. This kind of one-on-one conversation, occurring in real time, often prevents minor issues from escalating into emergencies. Now consider healthcare. In a busy operating room, every second counts. A nurse's immediate comment about a slight deviation in instrument handling or procedure can redirect the entire team and save a life. This isn't just theory, it's a daily reality in hospitals where quick, candid feedback can be the difference between a successful procedure and a crisis. Similarly, in manufacturing and construction, workers are encouraged to stop the line if they notice any unsafe conditions. Imagine a factory floor where a machine part isn't working as it should. Instead of waiting for a formal report, any worker can initiate a conversation right there on the shop floor, ensuring that the issue is addressed promptly. These examples show that whether you're in the cockpit, operating room, or on the factory floor, one-on-one accountability is a proven strategy that saves lives and improves performance. Now let's bring this home with an interactive scenario. Picture yourself working on a busy production line. You're focused on your tasks when suddenly you notice that a machine's safety guard isn't properly secured. The situation isn't dramatic, but it's significant enough to potentially lead to an accident if left unchecked. Imagine that moment. What would you do? Would you immediately approach your coworker and point out the issue? Or would you hesitate, perhaps assuming someone else will handle it? Take a moment to think about your response. I encourage you to discuss this briefly with the person next to you, or if you're joining remotely, share your thoughts in the chat. This simple exercise is designed to help us all reflect on the importance of acting quickly and responsibly. From our discussion and examples, a clear lesson emerges. Every great team starts by acknowledging that mistakes are a natural part of any process. The real transformation happens when we choose to address these mistakes as opportunities for improvement. By embracing one-on-one accountability, we create an environment where every member of the team feels personally responsible, not just for their own work, but for the overall safety and success of the group. This proactive approach, where issues are caught early and discussed openly, builds a culture of trust and continuous learning. Imagine a team where every conversation about an error leads to a positive change, where feedback is seen as a gift, and where everyone feels empowered to make the next step safer and more effective. Let's get creative for a moment. I invite you to imagine that you have a personal accountability toolkit, a metaphorical toolbox filled with habits, practices, and strategies that help you and your team maintain high performance and safety. In this toolkit, you might include a feedback finder, which reminds you to check in with your colleagues regularly, a safety shield, a mental prompt to pause and assess if something doesn't feel right, and a pause button, a practice of stopping work momentarily to discuss and resolve potential issues. Think about what else you might add to your toolkit. Take a moment now to write down one new practice or habit that you can start implementing in your daily work. This is your first step toward creating a safer, more collaborative environment. As we wrap up, I want to emphasize the core idea. We're responsible for each other. By embracing one-on-one accountability and accepting that mistakes are part of the human experience, we turn potential errors into opportunities for learning and growth. Whether you work in aviation, healthcare, manufacturing, or any other field, the power of a single conversation cannot be overstated. I challenge each of you to adopt at least one new accountability practice this week. Remember, every honest conversation can spark progress and help build a safer, more effective workplace. Let's commit to creating an environment where everyone feels empowered to speak up and support one another. Thank you all for your attention and participation today. I'd now like to open the floor for any questions or comments. What ideas resonated with you? Do you have any experiences to share about a time when one-on-one accountability made a difference in your work? Let's have an open discussion. Your insights are just as valuable as the strategies we've talked about today. I look forward to hearing your thoughts and working together to build an even stronger culture of accountability.